Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. I suppose most of us have been in situations where we've seen something or heard something and we wish we'd spoken up to it. Something's happened in front of us that's disconcerting, maybe gets us upset, and we don't say anything because who wants the confrontation? It's just easier to keep quiet. And yet afterwards we go away and we think about it and we wish we'd said something. You see, it takes a certain kind of bravery to speak up in life. As they say, the temptation for most of us most of the time is just to keep quiet and move on. And yet things are allowed to slide that probably shouldn't be. And it doesn't just have to be bad things. Sometimes we would like to compliment somebody, say some praise to that person, but we don't get around to doing it. Or maybe our relationship with them is too complicated and we hold it back. And that's unfortunate too, because it just makes the world a bit colder than it needs to be. Imagine this scenario, though. There are times in life where we do say something. Our words kind of tumble out of our mouth, and we do speak to the moment, and it makes the situation worse because people react to our words, or they take them in a way that we never intended them to be taken. And then we got a mess. We're dealing with a mess. We got damage control to do. And so I think we've all been on both sides of this situation in life where we've not said something when we should have, and we've said something or we've said something inartfully that we wish we hadn't said. And then we're confronted with the reality of life that we've missed the moment. A Course in Miracles says that the ego always speaks first and the Holy Spirit in us always speaks second. Which means most of what comes out of our mouths is really ego-driven and not blessed by God. And of course, the key aspect of life then is to slow things down, which is why the Bible puts such emphasis on those aspects of life that slow us down, like perseverance, self-control, endurance, self-discipline. These attributes of life are meant actually to give the Holy Spirit time to speak in us. Otherwise, all we do is go around bantering the life of the ego in us and make the world a bit colder, harder than it needs to be. And that means our hesitancy to speak may have some wisdom to it, right? Because it's not just a matter of bravery in life. It's also, there's an aspect of wisdom. See, because we need the right words, but we also need the right timing. Timing is critical to life as the words are. In fact, you could say the right words at the wrong time and they're the wrong words. So timing is, in some sense, the most critical element of all. Saying the right thing at the right time is the key. And that means that we have to learn how to slow things down so that the Holy Spirit has time to speak into our circumstances. Effective expression then requires both bravery, the bravery to say what needs to be said, but also the wisdom to know when it should be said. The Apostle Paul writes to the Ephesians, to the church in Ephesus, and he commends to them to pray in the Spirit at all times. That is, remain connected to the source of life, of love, to remain connected to the heart and mind of God, to give the Spirit time to speak in and through their life circumstances. And then he encourages those in Ephesus to intercede for each other before God. Not that God doesn't already know what people need, but the act of prayer for one another, in essence, slows life down, focuses our hearts and minds on what's most important. And then he says to the church in Ephesus, not only pray for one another, pray for me. See, because Paul's in really a hard place. He's been arrested. He's in chains. And he's feeling the pressure of the world upon him. Sometimes we get spooked in life and we blurt out things or we do things that are inappropriate, that are against the will of God. See, God's will in every situation is that we speak forth the words of love. And when life spooks us, we move too fast and we don't give the Spirit enough time. And Paul's asking for the church in Ephesus to pray for him, to give him the time to speak boldly the way of love into his hard place. And what was true for Paul is true for us. We're going to be given a lot of challenging moments in life, hard places that requires us to speak. But the question is, what is it we're going to say? If we give God time, we'll feel the Spirit teaching us, leading us into speaking the words of love. So I won't rush the moment, nor will I unnecessarily delay it. See, because I've come to realize that the moment doesn't really live out there, it lives within me. The right moment is the time needed to allow the voice of the Spirit to rise up in me. And as a follower of Christ, I'm called to trust that God really will give me the right words and the right timing to produce the right moment. It will come to me as a gift. And God's way of love will be revealed through that gift. And I'm thinking, what else could anyone ask for?